Hey YouTubers, if you like what you see, make sure you click subscribe below. Today is going to be week 11 of our Thursday night triple threat episode, and as you might have seen right here, this little tiny goblet, it's going to be hot shot for the punishment, so stick around. It didn't help your arm?
In a world where losing in your fantasy football league isn't an option, we present to you Triple Coverage Podcast.
Coming to you live from TCP Studios in Las Vegas, Nevada, Jay Up and James Up are your co-hosts for everything fantasy football related. So sit back, crack a cold one, and enjoy the show.
Welcome to Triple Coverage Podcast. It is week 11 of our Thursday night triple threat episode. I am your co-host Jay Up, and you can find me on Twitter at TripleCodeJ. Here with my co-host, my brother James.
Whoa.
And you can find him on Twitter at TripleCodeJames.
True.
So we had a decent game this last week. Did you win this game? This Raiders-Chargers game? Did you win your bet?
Yes, I had a second half bet actually, and the second half bet was a straight bet. I think. No. I had the over with the Chargers. Maybe, I don't know. I can't even tell you. It was so long ago. Go ahead, keep talking.
Okay, so
I'm gonna try to find it.
Here's what I did: is I liked going into this game. I liked the Raiders, but I was undecided on the over/under. I hate betting under, but I was still undecided on it. So I went to the sports book on Thursday, and I decided I'm going to take the opposite of whatever the public's betting, because usually the public is wrong. And so when I went to the window and I saw that the Chargers were getting all the action,
right?
Like the Chargers were getting all the action, and so was the over. It had gone up 1.5 points,
right?
Which is a lot.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm like, damn, I hate betting under, but it's gone up 1.5 points. I'm going to take the under. So I took the Raiders and under. Raiders cover. Game goes over by, I think, 1 point.
One.
Yeah.
So that's what.
So
second half, I just pulled it up on my app here. I actually took the Chargers minus 0.5 point and under 24.5 for the second half, and it came down to
10-9.
It was 10-9 because they scored and missed the extra point.
Yeah.
And
Carlson.
so the Raiders missed the extra point, which made it 10-9. And I was like, "There's no way I'm gonna win like that." And sure enough, they had another chance to score. They could have kicked a field goal because the second half was 19 points. So even a field goal, I'm still good. But if they would have got a touchdown or a pick six or anything crazy, I would have lost. But Chargers minus 0.5, and thanks to a missed extra point, I covered that half. If I had the other side and I was getting 0.5 point, I would have been very pissed. I would have been calling our hotline.
Let me ask you a question about this game really fast before we kind of start recapping. What the hell's wrong with Phillip Rivers?
I'm
Why
not
does he
sure.
look so? It looks like he's never played football before.
His last 7 attempts on that last drive was like, I've never seen anything like it.
They weren't even close.
But he was 0 for 7, and 1 was an interception. And I was confused by the fact that they were just trying to get into field goal range. So they had all 3 timeouts, all 3. You're telling me that you don't dump off to Austin Eckler, you don't throw to Hunter Henry. Every single play was over 20 yards or more downfield, off his back foot, slinging it from his side. It looked very weird. It was like he was rushing so hard back to make sure the play got time to develop so that he could throw into double coverage 40 yards downfield. Like, dump it off. You have 3 timeouts with 1 minute and 10 seconds. So even if you get 3 yards, 5 yards, 10 yards, 6 yards, whatever, you're going to go down. You don't even have to get out of bounds. So you can use the entire field,
right,
and you need to get about 35 or 40 yards. Why are you throwing it 40 yards downfield in double coverage over and over and over? Even when they gave him a new set of downs, they didn't move the ball 1 yard out of 7 plays. Not 1 yard.
The only first down they got was a penalty.
Correct. That moved him up. But as far as offensive yardage, 0. Out of 7 plays.
I didn't understand, especially like you said, you have one of the best pass-catching running backs in the entire NFL.
Tight ends, you have 2 good receivers.
Gordon can catch as well, but like you have Austin Eckler back there. Like you're telling me you can't get a screen going with him to pick up 8 or 9 yards and then run out of bounds and call timeout or whatever?
They kept sending him across the middle of the field or off to the flats, and like every time I was watching, I was like, he's right there. He's right there. Like, even if he only gets 5 yards, so get the 5 yards, get closer. Like, I don't know. It was 7 attempts in a row downfield of more than 15 or 20 yards every single time, and none of them were accurate. None of them were even catchable.
He threw 3 interceptions that counted, and there were 2 more that got negated by penalty.
Yeah.
So he would have had 5 interceptions. Like, I don't understand. Like, you're throwing against a Raiders team right now who is terrible against the pass. They're good against the run. They're terrible against the pass. And Gordon has a good game, which is surprising because they're really good against the run.
22 attempts, though.
But 3 interceptions he throws, and he throws for 207 yards against a weak defense. I don't know what's going on with Philip Rivers.
Is there other things in this that we're just not seeing in the stat box that the Raiders are a lot better at than we give them credit for? Because now they're 5-4. They're 5-4. They're 4-1 at home. So maybe we look at Oakland, we look at the stats. Oh, they give up a lot of yards, whatever. But when it's mattered this year and it's come down to the wire in that fourth quarter, they seem to be getting a lot of defensive stops or a lot of things that go their way. And you look at Derek Carr, he only had 218 yards and a touchdown. Like, that's not a great game. Jacobs didn't really blow up either. He had 71 yards and a touchdown. Like, they didn't do anything spectacular, but somehow came out with the win. And they keep winning these close games. Whereas the last few seasons, they were losing these games. They were finishing 4-12, and they were finishing 5-11. Now all of a sudden they're winning those close games, and that's a huge difference. And now they go to play soon. Don't they play Kansas City soon? When they play Kansas City, I'm telling you, that game's going to be an absolute shootout, and that might be for the division.
They have a very winnable game this week because they play the Cincinnati Bengals.
And the Chiefs are playing at the Chargers. So if the Chiefs lose that game, all of a sudden now Raiders are making a play for a wild card in the AFC.
Yeah, I thought that the Raiders were going to be done after the first week when they lost 2 key defensive players with Conley and the rookie. What's the rookie that hits hard? What's his name? I can't remember his name.
Oh, yeah. Abrams?
Yeah, Jonathan Abram.
Mm-hmm.
And then I heard that Key could miss a lot of time, Arden Key. So they're missing key pieces off their defense.
No pun intended.
When they come to Vegas,
right,
and those guys are healthy, they might actually have a pretty good team. They might actually have a playoff team because their defense is playing really good without those.
What's crazy is that like
players.
All their stars, like Khalil Mack, gone. Amari Cooper, gone. Antonio Brown, gone.
Everyone
that was supposed to be
much crap about
these superstars, as everyone would call them, are just leaving, and somehow the Raiders keep rolling. So as a season ticket holder in Las Vegas, I am definitely looking forward to watching them play. By no means am I a Raider fan, but I just want an excitement to come to Las Vegas like the Golden Knights, and people to be excited about football here and not take it as, oh, I hate the Raiders. Like, we're just trying to see competitive football and get a team that has a chance to win 9 or 10 games, and so that the games are fun and we're not getting blown out every single week.
I also am excited because I think they have 2 first-round picks next year as well. Mm-hmm. So, like, they got all these good rookie pieces that are playing well. Obviously, Abram got hurt, early in the season, but Jacobs is playing fantastic. Mm-hmm. Carr is playing good. He's not playing
Speaking of Derek Carr, the one thing that I'm noticing in the stat box here, if you scroll down just a little bit more, mm-hmm. is that no one on the receiving team had more than 6 targets. No one had more than 5 targets actually. So he spread the ball to everyone. It's like basically if you're open, I will get you the ball. So there's not a guy on this team that's demanding 12 or 15 or 20 targets like a DeAndre Hopkins or Devontae Adams. You got 4 to Rashard, 5 to Renfro, 5 to Waller, 5 to Jacobs, 5 to Tyrell Williams, 2 to Washington, 3 to Zay Jones. Like, he literally threw to anyone that was playing. If you're open, he'll find you, and that's how you win football games. It's not by trying to force targets down receivers that are superstars and are demanding the ball, like an Eric Ebron did for the Colts. He demands the ball, and all of a sudden you give him 12 targets, and guess what happened? They lost the game to Miami.
Right.
So it's like they don't have a superstar receiver, and it's working out for them.
Yeah, and I think that brighter days are ahead for the Oakland Raiders. I'm actually kind of excited when they come to Las Vegas. The game, though, like you said, Gordon had a good game. Eckler gave you flex-worthy stats because he got bailed out by a touchdown, so he ended up with about 12 points in fantasy.
Right.
Jacobs also got bailed out by a touchdown, in my opinion, because otherwise he was just very mediocre this game.
He would have 13 points, though.
Even without? Because of the receptions, too, yeah. Keenan Allen had a decent game. He had 8 catches for 68 yards. He's your wide receiver number 1. Mm-hmm. Mike Williams was almost shut out until he caught that 45-yard bomb.
Right. Other than that, he had 1 catch for 10 yards.
Correct. So he ended up with 7 fantasy points.
Which I don't get. It's got to be something that's going on with Rivers, because for Mike Williams as the number 2 wide receiver to only get 3 targets, I'm very confused by it. Mm-hmm. And you look at the rest of the team, like Kendricks, Watts, Patton, and Moore.
Andre Patton had more targets than Mike Williams.
Right, and you're looking at those 4 guys got 4, 5, 6, 7 targets between the 4 guys. Never heard of any of them, or you're never playing any of them, let's just say. And your number 2 receiver gets 3 targets. I mean, it
ain't good. Copy.
Okay, yeah, and Eckler gets 2. You're telling me you're trying to get in a field goal range at the end of a game, and you have a gigantic target like Mike Williams and one of the best catching running backs in the league, and total together they got 0 targets that's under 10 yards. They can actually catch the ball. They threw downfield every single time to a bunch of no-name receivers in a double coverage.
Yeah, I'm losing some confidence in Rivers as the season goes on because he actually started pretty well.
Who's his
he's
backup?
Kind of been fading out.
Like, you don't know
Well,
because he never misses games.
It's Tyrod Taylor.
Oh yeah,
Is
okay.
his backup, and then they've drafted that Easton Stick.
Yeah.
As a rookie. I think he may be on their practice squad right now.
Easton Stick should be a baseball player. Just because of
It
his
sounds
name.
like it.
Yeah, you're not a football player.
He's fast though, so they'd have to change their playbook around a little bit. The triple threat bet last week was I had Derek Carr, I had Josh Jacobs, and Keenan Allen.
He had his total of 50.82 points.
Yes, and then James had Phillip Rivers, Austin Eckler, and Darren Waller for a total of 36.08.
You know what I went wrong? Taking Eckler over Melvin Gordon,
Yes.
which I said is going to be a risky play.
50-50 shot.
But Gordon only had, I'm looking right now, so it was 3.5 points in the pass, so 3.5 plus 13 plus 19, so he had 22, 23 points. So that would have been an extra 12 points. It would have made it a lot closer. I would have had 48 and a half, so I would have lost by 2 instead of getting blown out. So I'm okay with it either way. Regardless, bottoms up for my punishment here. I'm sure it's going to taste great. I finally have water with me. The last couple times I haven't had water.
It's a hot shot. Just like his name.
Almost gagged there.
Before you got it to your mouth?
Yeah, I just smelled it. It's dumb.
I think it's a cute little goblet there, too. A little goblet.
Goblets up.
Goblets up.
Gobble, gobble, gobble. What movie?
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and it's almost going to be on because it's getting to that time of season.
Those aren't pillows? Oh, God.
I'll probably watch that 3 times.
It's all chunky on the bottom
season.
every time. So gross.
Well,
God dang. Cement mixer. I'll never forget when Travis was on here and he was telling us about the cement mixer and I had that shot. It was so disgusting.
didn't you make one of those for me?
Yeah.
On the show?
Remember, and like you drink it and you're like, oh, the liquid's gone, and then it's like it slaps you in the lips because like it's like when the lime hits, it kind of curdles.
Yes.
And you're like, oh, this isn't that bad. Smack, and it hits you in the lips. You're like, what was that? It's like curdled milk, but it's not.
Right, and you don't want to chew it because it's disgusting.
It's like
disgusting.
tastes like cottage cheese, or it feels like cottage cheese.
Yeah, that's just gross.
Yeah.
So this Thursday night coming up, 2 nights game, another division game. So hopefully it's a good one. You have the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland is actually favored in this game by 3, and the over/under is 40. Do you see anything wrong with that line? Like I know the Steelers are playing. The Steelers are playing well right now. They're second in the division. They're 5-4.
They're fighting for a playoff spot, and they're going to get there.
And Cleveland's 3-6. And so why is Cleveland favored this
Same
game?
thing as last week with the Buffalo Bills. Maybe there's something going on that we don't know about. Maybe the team's taking a turn. Didn't somebody else take over the offensive job? Not Freddie Kitchens anymore, I don't think.
Did he? No. Did he finally relinquish that?
I thought he did that last week, I believe.
No, that was a different team.
Okay.
Well, but the Atlanta Falcons Dan Quinn from the Atlanta Falcons let the defensive coordinator call the defensive plays instead of himself.
Maybe he should give it up then. I don't know. I'm looking at the Pittsburgh Steelers are 5-3 against the spread this year. Cleveland Browns is 6-2. So another thing just for me,
2-6.
I'm sorry, 2-6, which is obviously not good. So again, for me, I like the Pittsburgh Steelers in this game. I think they've been playing really good, and I think the last few weeks they've shown that they can hang with teams that are supposedly better than them, and they're winning. So for me, I actually like the Pittsburgh Steelers in this game to win outright, even in Cleveland. And I know it's a division game. I think it's going to be a really tight game. So I do like a lot of the fantasy players in this game. If Connor plays, I really like James Conner. If he doesn't, I'm okay with playing Samuels. I really like Juju in this matchup. I don't know why, but I think Mason Rudolph and Juju finally are going to start to click. Him and Vance McDonald. I actually like the entire Pittsburgh offense in this game. Not to blow up, but fantasy purposes wise, going to be a lot of wide receiver 2s and running back 2s that you're going to want to start in your lineup. Same thing with Cleveland. I like OBJ. I like Landry. I really like Nick Chubb. And the one thing I want to see or I want to talk about is Kareem Hunt's usage. We talked about it all season of when Kareem Hunt comes back, how much is he going to, how relevant is he going to be?
Yeah,
how many
touches?
touches?
As a receiving
how many whatever is he going to get? And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you were making it sound like he was not going to be much a part of anything. You and everyone actually we talked to.
What I said exactly is that what if, because everyone thought that Cleveland's going to be a good team this year. Okay? So everyone thought they were going to be like battling for the division lead. And I said, if Nick Chubb is just absolutely killing it, like he's leading the league in rushing or they're winning and they only have like 2 losses, I don't think Kareem Hunt's going to come in and just take stuff away from Nick Chubb. It depends on how he's doing. If he's struggling, then I think Kareem Hunt will obviously be relevant. And what they decided to do was use Kareem Hunt as like a receiving back, almost like Austin Eckler and Melvin Gordon are in Los Angeles.
So here is Kareem Hunt's total usage for last week, his only week that he's played. He had 7 catches, for 44 yards.
That's a lot.
He had 4 carries for 30 yards, so he averaged over 7 yards a carry. And he played 38 of the 69 snaps, so more than half of the snaps. He ran 23 routes on their 41 passing attempts. So every passing attempt, he was in there for more than 50% of those plays. He had 16% of the running back carries, but here's the key. He had just under 70% of the running back targets. So they almost stopped going to Chubb completely in the passing game and strictly Kareem Hunt, which I love as a Kareem Hunt owner. Now already he's sneaking up into be a flex play.
So here's the funny part about that too, is that they're almost using Hunt the way they used Duke Johnson 2 years ago.
But Hunt's way better than Duke Johnson.
Right.
More explosive, more whatever.
But that's the point. Like, so you remember Duke Johnson, so he got 4 carries, which you remember old Browns games. Before Kitchens was the head coach.
They throw him a bone.
They would every once in a while, here's a carry for you. Yeah, here's a carry for you, but we're strictly going to use you as like a running back wide receiver hybrid. And that's how they use Duke Johnson. And then so Kareem Hunt comes in, and that's exactly how they use him. Chubb is the guy on first and second down. Every once in a while, they'll throw Chubb a bone and give him a reception, or a target. But Hunt, you're our guy for targets, and we're going to throw you a bone every once in a while for a running.
For me, that's what I want to see, especially in his first game. He's getting 7 catches. Like, this is his first game. So I'm not saying he's going to get more than 7 every game, but it made me feel a lot better about owning Kareem Hunt in one of our leagues. I didn't play him because I didn't have to, but now going forward, as long as the Cleveland Browns are playing, I think that you have to kind of start Kareem Hunt in your flex play and hope that he gets between 5 to 7 catches. If he gets 5 catches a game, he's going to get you 10 points.
That's fantasy relevance right there.
Oh, for sure. And that's with him not even having to get a touchdown. If he happens to find his way into the end zone, now he is all of a sudden a running back too.
And I think that they can both survive and do well enough to where they're both fantasy relevant.
I don't think that's hurts Chubb that much.
It takes a little bit away from Chubb, but not very much.
Yeah, but
he's still their guy.
Right. And he's still going to get the ball on the goal line. He's still going to get the touchdowns. He's still going to be very fantasy relevant.
Use them both and be a better version of what it was when Duke Johnson was there. Like, be a better version of that.
It still amazes me that Cleveland is 3-6.
Something is very fishy about this line. I don't agree with the line, which makes me want to take Cleveland because, like, you look back at their last 5 games.
Right.
So the Steelers lost in overtime to Baltimore on October 6th by a field goal. After that, they rattled off 4 wins in a row. Okay, and
against decent teams.
Yeah, 1 bad one and 3 decent ones. They beat the Rams. They beat the Colts. They beat Miami, of course, and then they beat the Chargers. So you're playing decent competition besides, obviously, Miami. And so they're 4-0 the last 4 games, and their only loss in the last 5 was against Baltimore, and that went to overtime.
Well, but you're looking at those games, those last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games on the left-hand side there. Every one of them has one thing in common, and besides the Miami game, they're all within 1 score. Every game is close. And that usually means there's a lot of fantasy relevance because no one's getting blown out. There's no garbage time. There's no having to rely on anything crazy to happen because they're just in competitive games. And that's what you want when you have those quarterbacks and the running backs because you're like, well, my team's up 35 points now, and now all they're going to do is run the ball. They've been in every game. You're talking a 5-point game with the Rams. You're talking 2 points with the Colts. You're talking 7 points for the Chargers and 3 against Baltimore. So all 4 of those last 5 games were all within 1 score, which means it's going to be tight game played here. I don't think anyone gets blown out. I think it's going to be a good competitive Thursday night game.
But here on the flip side, here's the Browns side. So the last 5 games, they're 1-4, and they had lost 4 in a row until they beat the Buffalo Bills by a field goal, essentially 19-16, which we called on the Friday episode.
It was a trap.
It was a trap. I said, why the hell is Cleveland favoring this? They're 2-6 coming into this game, and Buffalo was actually playing really good defense, and their offenses looked pretty good too.
They were 6-2.
Yeah, and they were 6-2, and I said, why is Cleveland favored? And I said, I almost took it. I almost took Buffalo plus the 3 points. I said, I'm staying away from it. I think it's a trap, and it ended up landing right on the number. Cleveland won by 3, so that was a trap. They wanted everybody to bet Buffalo. If you ended up getting it at a different line, then you
it was 2.5 for a while there.
So to me, that was a trap. This looks like a trap to me, so I'll either stay away, but let's face it, I'm probably going to bet it because it's a Thursday night game.
Yeah, you are.
I'm leaning towards Cleveland, dude. And even though, because Pittsburgh should win this game, and Pittsburgh should be favored in this game, why is Cleveland favored? You can't tell me they're just favored because they're at home.
The only time I bet Pittsburgh on TV this year was week 1 when they played the Patriots, and I took Pittsburgh, and they got beat by like 140 points. So I'm not sure on this game either, but the Cleveland side, we'll stick with that. Cleveland versus the run is 27th in the league, giving up 135 yards a game. Cleveland versus the pass, 7th in the league, only giving up 221. So that's why, like, James Washington's and the Deontay Johnsons of the bunch, I'm not sure if you're wanting to start them. Juju, you're going to have to play him either way.
Denzel Ward and Greedy Williams, like, they have a good defense.
They're good. Their secondary is good. But my bold prediction, at the beginning of the season was Jarvis Landry would finish ahead of Odell Beckham in fantasy points. And as of today, Jay, Jarvis Landry is wide receiver 22 in a PPR league, and Odell Beckham is wide receiver number 25. So Landry is, in fact, ahead of Odell Beckham. I'm not sure what's going on there, but the last 3 weeks, I'm going to give you 4 names. Last 3 weeks, Jarvis Landry, wide receiver 9. Odell Beckham, the last 3 weeks, wide receiver number 29. Juju, the last 3 weeks, Jay, is wide receiver number 25. And James Washington, wide receiver number 31 over the last 3 weeks. He is now somehow snuck into fantasy relevance, and he is possibly a flex play. I don't love the matchup this week, but moving forward, keep your eye on James Washington because they used to only throw to him deep until Mason Rudolph came in, and they don't let Mason Rudolph throw deep at all. So now James Washington's relevant.
He's got to know some of the routes. I mean, they have a good rapport together. They played in college together.
Oklahoma State.
They had to have got some kind of rapport down.
So James Washington, almost playable. So you want to move into who we have for this week?
Yeah, go ahead and let's say your pick.
So we drafted off air. I got to pick first because I lost again because it was a stomach thing, and I lose those every single time. I took Nick Chubb. Jay came back with Baker Mayfield and Odell Beckham. And then I got to choose 2, and I went Juju and Mason Rudolph, and Jay came back with James Conner or Samuel, depending on who plays. If Conner plays, he gets Conner. If Conner does not play, he will get Samuel, and that's it. So for Jay, Baker Mayfield, James Conner, Odell Beckham. For James, Mason Rudolph, Nick Chubb, and Juju. So we both have a hookup. If Baker throws a touchdown to Odell, or if Rudolph throws one to Juju, that usually spells doom for the other side. So if one of those guys can link up and the other one doesn't, pretty much all she wrote.
And I think that Connor will be back this week after missing 2 weeks with the injury. So it's a shoulder injury. So we'll see. Maybe
I still think they split time.
With a shoulder, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Is it with shoulder injury, it may hinder his pass catching ability. I think he'll still be able to run. So maybe they just use Jalen Samuel strictly on pass catching downs. Right. But I think that James Conner will be back for this game. Just double check before the game goes off. Obviously, you're going to see an injury report. They'll announce it about an hour and a half before game time. Do you want to spin since you lost?
Yep, sure do. Almost this time, I'm almost begging for karaoke now. Oh, Pie Face. We haven't had that one yet.
Oh, there you go.
Pie Face. So
it's not stomach and it's not singing. So you should be able to win this one.
I'll be able to win this one. So what are we putting on the thing? Does it have to be whipped cream? Can we set the rules now?
What else would it be?
I mean,
whipped cream, or you want
whatever
Cool
you
Whip
want,
or something like that. Like,
yeah, I mean, whatever you want.
So that way, if it gets in your mouth, it doesn't taste disgusting. Like you can put Cool Whip on it, right? Let's do Cool Whip.
I don't have a Cool Whip at the house. Well, Cool Whip is like, what's the difference between that and whipped cream?
Oh, I thought you were saying like shaving cream.
Oh no. I was saying, do you want to put something else on there? I don't know, whatever, like anything, Vaseline, whatever, mustard.
Vaseline, I don't think would come off the hand.
Jesus Christ. I'm saying anything else besides whipped cream. Do you want, or does it have to be whipped cream?
No, let's do whipped cream.
Okay.
It's gonna get in your mouth. It's gonna get in your. You know what I mean? So like, you don't want something disgusting.
Why is your mouth open though?
Even if your mouth is closed, it's gonna hit you in the mouth. It goes right to your nose and mouth. It goes right there.
Huh.
So if it's something disgusting, you're gonna.
Like, I'm not sure what you're worried about. Your team is absolutely stacked. I need Mason Rudolph to have a great game. So
right, one long 70-yard touchdown to Juju, which is probably gonna happen.
70 yards?
Yeah.
He hasn't thrown a 70-yard pass in his entire
it's gonna
existence.
Be an 8-yard pass that Juju takes 70 yards.
You want to switch teams?
No,
exactly.
You picked your team for.
Ready to crack one?
Let's crack it.
I didn't think so.